friends. Welcome back to the Auto Transport Copilot. My name is Beck Abdullayev. I am with Super Dispatch. I'm coming to you today with my fancy Zoom background, and I'm really excited to continue bringing the new episodes of the Auto Transport Copilot to you. Last year, we started this platform, this podcast, to give voice to a lot of up-and-coming companies and trailblazers and established veterans of the industry, and hopefully start a dialogue around all the changes that are happening in the industry, the challenges we face as carriers, brokers, shippers in the industry, the technology, the developments, the advancements, all these things. And as things continue to digitize and the industry continues to change, and the macroeconomic factors, the economy going up and down as they impact this massive automotive industry, I'm hoping to bring forward the dialogue around these challenges and how different companies are navigating in the automotive industry, especially in regards to auto transport. So I'm excited to kick off this year with this episode. It's episode 6. And we have a very exciting guest today that I hope you'll enjoy getting to know. This year, you'll see us exploring lots of new topics, lots of new guests. And many of you so far have been responding and reaching out via email. So please continue doing so. My email is superbeck@superdispatch.com. This is an email address I check personally, and I respond to all the messages, all the letters, good and bad. So I appreciate you doing that. Continue engaging with me and with us and with our team. We'll continue fostering this dialogue in this community. Today, I have an exciting guest. She's a 15-year veteran of the automotive industry with lots of experience. She's currently working at Hansen Adkins, and her name is Gigi Ferris. You'll learn a few different things about her, but I'm so excited. We had a chance, an opportunity to sit down with her at Used Car Week. Stan Deek, who's on our team, he's our Chief Revenue Officer. He had an incredible conversation. They're both also runners, so they bonded over that. Gigi actually ran in college. She went to an Ivy League school, and then she ran in college. And I think she brings that athletic ferocity into everything she does. So really enjoyed making this podcast. I hope you enjoyed that as well. So I'll see you next month at the next episode of the podcast. Let me know if you have any feedback, if you have any thoughts, ideas on how we can do this better. What topics do you want us to cover more? What kind of conversations? Do you have anything you want to talk to us one-on-one about? I'm open to any feedback. We thrive on feedback. We always learn and grow from having conversations with carriers, brokers, and shippers in the industry. And we'd like to continue doing so even through the Auto Transport Copilot platform. Have an amazing year. Happy New Year. And I'm really excited to continue bringing you this content. Enjoy.
Welcome back to Auto Transport Copilot. On today's episode, we again want to highlight a special character and big personality in the auto transport industry. Her name is Gigi Ferris. She's the Director of Sales for Hansen Adkins Auto Transport. Founded in 1994, asset-based Hansen Adkins Auto Transport remains one of the largest and most respected auto transport companies on the road today. With a staggering fleet of over 965 trucks across 34 terminals and the unique capacity to transport across the United States and Canada, they continue to stand out as a key player in the OEM and remarketing transport world. Gigi opened up to our Chief Revenue Officer, Stan Deek, about lessons learned from the various sectors Hansen serves while providing insight into being a woman in a male-dominated field. In an industry where secrecy is just business, Gigi was candid with us, and we respect her for that. So, without further delay, we present to you Gigi Ferris.
I'm here with Gigi Ferris of Hansen Auto Logistics. Gigi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
We're doing great. We're doing great. How's the show been so far?
I've only been here a day. I went out and hung out with the Grow ladies.
Yeah.
Love what they're doing over there. We did like a game show thing.
What is
yesterday.
that? The Grow Ladies?
So they're like global remarketing opportunities for women group.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is a group. That's a subgroup, or that's just a group of women. I didn't know about this one.
Oh yeah, it's a subgroup, and we've got they have a lot of sponsorships, like transport companies sponsor them.
Oh.
Different companies around here will sponsor
Okay.
them, and what they decided to throw yesterday was like just a little gathering party for all the women that came,
Oh,
or
nice.
whoever could go, and it was game show themed, so that was a lot of fun.
Okay.
That was the first thing I did last night, and then came over here.
Okay. Well, how's Hansen Auto Logistics? How's business going?
You know, it's growing. A lot of people didn't know that we existed because they're so used to seeing us just moving new cars.
Yeah.
So ever since put me out here working all these shows, they understand that we're in the remarketing, the repossession space. We're dealing with off-lease vehicles, so it's nice because now they have another option, and we're asset-based. So
what are you guys doing? What is the service that you guys are offering?
So what we are offering is the fact that we can use our assets, and we're one of the largest independently owned companies in North America and Canada, so we can move vehicles across the border.
Yep.
And obviously, it's very tailored. It's a very tailored thing because when you're dealing with new cars, they don't necessarily want us using partner carriers all the time. They want to know
Sure.
that we're going to get specific service from a specific carrier, and then
Yeah.
we're moving it to the remarketing side.
Okay.
So it's nice.
So you go between the OEM world and the remarketing world.
Mm-hmm.
What is obviously there's a ton of differences. We could probably spend the rest of this conversation
Yeah.
talking about just the differences. What's maybe a difference that somebody doesn't realize but you live it, is like, man, everybody needs to know this.
So on the remarketing side, I think that everybody knows this, especially being here. There are so many transport companies.
Yeah.
Like, it is very, very cutthroat, right? But everybody wants the same thing. Every single consumer wants the same thing, and they honestly want a human touch.
Yep.
They want to be able to talk to somebody that, one, speaks English, two,
Okay.
understands their pain points, three, will do exactly what they say when they're saying they're going to do it. And I think that's everybody in all customer service, but when it comes to transport, it's even more tantamount. And then obviously making sure that you're okay with liability and insurance. Like, they don't have to worry about these things. Like, I just talked to a customer that had something happen. Like, someone took out a bridge.
Oh, wow.
And he looked at me, he's like, I know you guys work for the OEMs. I know that you guys move big trucks. Can you help me? Because I know that you guys have enough coverage.
Yeah.
So,
Taking out a
stuff
bridge
like that.
is a big accident.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the things I was talking to one of the other carriers that's here yesterday, what he was saying, I asked him, like, what differentiate your business? And he was like, Stan, he's like, we do what we say we're going to do.
Yeah.
He's like, we're always honest.
Yeah.
And he said, there's delivering really excellent customer service. Like, the bar isn't actually all that high. Like, there's just a lot of people who just don't deliver good customer service. So I think in this industry, if you're like you guys, if you just deliver consistently really great customer service, then you can build a really unbelievable business.
Yeah. And right now for me, it's just finding the opportunities because we're so new to the space.
Okay.
Right. So it's a lot of business development, like branding myself as Hal's remarketing person.
Yeah.
And come trust me, I know what I'm doing.
So what's your background? So you're new to the space, so tell everybody about your background.
So I come from the fleet space. I used to be a director of fleet for government and commercial sales with Asbury.
Okay.
So we got up to the point where I think the last year there I was going to do like somewhere around 6,000 vehicles.
Wow.
So I have a lot of relationships with some of the people that are here today.
Wow.
Mike Albert Leasing, some people from National Vehicle Leasing Associations and AFLA and stuff. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then why make a change over to this side? So what?
The bottleneck of COVID when the cars went away and a lot of my vehicles weren't going to get delivered till December made it difficult for them to justify having my role empty for that period of time until my vehicles arrived. So David was awesome. He saw that I was looking and he's like, let me scoop this one up. I was like, okay.
There you go. David Larson is who we're referring to. David's been great.
Yes.
What about the rest of the show, right? So you're here for a couple more days, or you're here till what day?
I'm here until tomorrow.
You're here until tomorrow. What are you trying to accomplish? When you come to a show, what are you trying to do in the next 24 to 48 hours before you head out?
So it's more branding for me, honestly. I come to a show hoping to leave with a whole bunch of business cards like everybody else, right?
Yep.
But because we are so new, like I said, it's a trust factor.
Okay.
So I'm gaining a lot of that. I'm gaining traction when it comes to I say what I mean what I say, and then when you're asking for a quote or a rate on these lanes, I deliver them quickly. Okay. But the networking aspect, people putting me in front of other people because they say, hey, not only is this girl really smart, she does what she says she's going to do. She puts you together with other people that she knows in her network. Like, let me kind of parade her around in my network and get her brand out there, which is hell.
That's great.
So that's basically what my job is here, Used Car Week.
And also just doing like the normal job as the normal job's going on. You mentioned earlier that this is a busy time of year. So right, there's RFPs that are happening right now. So like outside of Used Car Week, like what's happening right now in your world?
So I was fortunate enough, these conferences are starting to pay off. These networks are starting to work for me, and I've gotten in front of a couple of different, major players, and RFPs are coming out. RFQs are coming out. They're asking about Canadian movement because we are one of the only ones that have assets on both sides of the border. So it's very nice. So that's what I'm doing.
So that's an interesting topic. That comes up. We get asked about that from time to time. What makes that a challenge about being able to cross border and then operate in Canada?
Well, for us, we've been doing it for so long. I think it's all licensing at the end of the day, and making sure that we can work with whatever customer it is, because right now we're priming our operations to get used to moving individual units from one place to another, instead of just going to the impound lot, picking up a whole bunch of cars and bringing them back over. So I think that's a pain point that we have to come across, that we have to bridge a gap, but we have all the licensing. So I mean, I think for somebody else that might be the biggest issue. Yeah,
we get asked about it from time to time, and I think the skill, or maybe I don't know if it's a skill, but just the experience of going cross-border.
Yeah, and then paying the fees, because you have to pay to cross and all that.
Yeah.
So
it's something that is, I think, a very select few people actually have that capacity to be able to do that.
And it could be a headache, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know.
Really exist for us.
I have never done it. This is one of these things. It's one of these things I talk about, but I've never actually done before.
Okay.
So what? If you weren't doing this, I'm actually curious, right? Because you've been in the automotive world for how many years?
15.
15 years. If you couldn't be in the automotive world, what would you be doing?
Oh my gosh, someone asked me this earlier today. I think that I would be a consultant. Like, I would love to be a coach, like a VP of sales operations or whatever, something of that nature, where you go in, kind of like a fixer.
Okay.
They called me a fixer back in the day, and they call it Tiger Team at my last position. And you go in, you learn every position, and you deal with the people last. Kind of like Marcus Malonis. Do you remember that show, The Prophet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
that would be
show.
my dream job.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, The Prophet is a great show.
That would be
he owns the big RV company, right? Okay, so that's pretty amazing. So you would want to come in and help people figure out what's broken, figure out how to fix it, be the fixer.
Yes.
All right, Gigi the Fixer.
Exactly, that's what I want to do.
Gigi the Fixer Ferris. Yes. That's amazing.
Oh, I'm coining that. That's
there
a
you
good
go.
one. Gigi
All right,
the
you
Fixer
heard it
Ferris.
here. Gigi the Fixer Ferris. So Gigi, you were, let's talk about you for just a moment. So, you've been in this automotive industry for 15 years, but before that, you were a collegiate athlete. So where did you go to school? What sport did you play?
I was at Fordham, and I ran. And I like to run long distance, but I ran short distance. I did 100 meter.
Okay.
And then I swam a little bit, but not as well as I do now. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to breathe. But that was intramural, but I ran for college.
Okay.
And then school got really hectic. I was an Ivy League school, and they were getting accredited.
Fordham was in the Ivy League?
Mm-hmm. They were getting accredited to become Ivy League in 2006.
Okay.
It was tough. Going through that process as a student was crazy.
Yeah.
So,
what don't people know when they think about the glory of going to be a college athlete? Is it glory, or is it just hard? Is it just hard work?
It is the grind. It's funny because I got a kid that wants to do that, right? So and you wake up usually at 3:30, 4:30 in the morning. I've been doing that since I'm a kid.
Oh my gosh.
You go in, you go for a workout or a coaching session.
Yeah.
You watch tape, you watch other people's tape, you make sure that you understand how your body's moving. So then you work out, you actually physically work out. So instead of just running and whatever it is that you're doing with your trainer that day. And then after that, you go to school, and then you come back, you work out again. And because my scholarship wasn't a full ride, I worked.
You worked. Wow. What did you do? What was your college job?
Bartending.
You bartended.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bartended.
What cocktail can you make? If somebody said make me your best cocktail.
Margaritas definitely.
You make a margarita?
Yeah, margaritas.
What's the perfect margarita?
For me, it has to be really good tequila, crushed ice with fresh lime juice. I put an orange in it, like a fresh orange.
Interesting.
No triple sec. I hate it.
Okay.
Sometimes simple syrup, but only if you like things sweet. And I like the black salt on the rim.
Black salt on the rim.
Yes,
there you go.
It's so good.
That's super interesting. I'm going to try
Yes.
that one. My wife loves a skinny margarita.
Yep.
And so a spicy skinny. She puts muddled jalapeno in it.
Yes, exactly. That's what I do at home.
There you go. All right, so you were a college athlete and you worked and you had school. And then what did you, like out of school, like how did you transition from that into like the professional work world when that sport ended?
Well, at the end of the day, I think that the car business lended itself to my college to my college experience, right?
Really?
Because it's super fast paced for the most part, especially at the early life when you're a salesperson, and then like very, very competitive. Like, so I got to a point. I remember one day I walked into work. I had quit because I didn't feel like working anymore at that dealership, and they hired me back like this. And I went back in and I was like, okay, I'm gonna sell 35 cars this month. They're like, you're gonna do what? Sure enough, like I had 4 customers come in one day, closed them all, and then I did 35 cars that month.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
But that's nose down, grind it out. You keep the hours. You study yourself. You study your month before.
Yeah.
What didn't you do well? You listen to your phone calls. You do rings. I did them with myself. Like
Wow.
So I had a mirror up and I watched myself talk while I was on the phone. And if I wasn't smiling, then therefore I knew the customer didn't know I was happy.
Oh, wow.
Like I had a customer go to a dealership, videotape the car he wanted to show me the pinstripes, and he bought it from me in Jacksonville, and he lived in Miami.
No way.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So
That's
it's just
amazing.
That kind of stuff. It's cool.
So a career in sales. Did you know you wanted to be in sales, or how did you land in a career in sales?
No, so I went to school actually to become a surgeon. My mom talked me out of it.
Okay.
I graduated.
That's
and I
usually
went
the opposite. Your mom talked you out of being a doctor?
Yeah,
Wow.
she was like, "You're gonna be in school forever. Don't do that. Go into business." So I went
Okay.
back. I went back, and I was gonna go to get my degree in hospital administration. She's like, "Stop going to school and just go into business."
No way. What did your mom do?
She's in sales.
She's in sales. Okay. What does your mom say? What does she sell?
She's retired now, but she
Okay.
was selling all kinds of stuff. I mean, she tried to sell real estate. She sold shoes. She's a
Yeah.
perpetual salesperson.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you saw that. You realized that sales could be a career because you saw it at home.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
That's
the commission
awesome.
checks are good. So
Yeah, there you go.
I was like, well, okay,
no
I
doubt
can do
there.
this.
So I think one of the other interesting things is, obviously found your way into sales, found your way into automotive. You're obviously a female in the automotive world, which is a predominantly male-dominated space. Like, what was that experience like as a young professional, and how has that changed, over time?
I wish it would have changed more over time, if I'm being honest. Like
Okay.
the male-dominated industry, it's not as male-dominated anymore. There's a ton of females.
Sure.
In the sales force for automotive. However, the way that I wish it would have changed by now, especially being in it for 15 years, is just I wish it would be less misogynistic.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I can see
Yeah.
that. I can see that. I mean, unfortunately, I think that's probably in a lot of industries that I think everybody wishes that were going to be the case. Have you seen it change at all, though? Have you seen an evolution?
Well, the coolest thing that I have going for us, I mean, especially working with Hal, I think because my boss has raised a couple girls.
Yeah.
He understands my pain points.
Yeah.
So, I went to one of my first conferences, and I was extremely uncomfortable.
Wow.
With my experience. Now, granted, I know how to dress.
Yeah.
I do have great syntax most days. I know when to stop drinking.
Yeah.
I've got little tricks. If people think I'm drinking, I'm no longer drinking.
Sure,
so I'm paying
sure,
attention.
sure.
But I can have fun without alcohol, so that's fine too. But then when someone crosses the boundary that you think is laid out in the sand, and you don't necessarily know what to do because it's your first time there, and you're in a brand new industry, and this has never happened to you before.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, boss, I don't know how to navigate these waters.
Okay.
Like, what do I do?
So let's talk about that, because you're not the first person that's ever happened to, and it's going to probably happen to somebody again. So if you were to give advice to somebody who's going to a show, they're going to be in that same experience that you had, or not the same experience, but they're going to go to a show for the first time. Like, what's the advice you would give?
So looking back on that show, I would definitely encourage buddying up with someone either from your industry, like prior to, or having, if there's more salespeople. Unfortunately, there's not that many business development executives at HAL.
Yeah.
I am
okay.
it.
Okay. All right. So if you need HAL services, call Gigi.
But obviously make a lot of friends. Try to network on LinkedIn and really get into it. Like, lean more into the women's groups. Lean
Yeah.
more into the things that you want to see come out of the show. So if you're trying to network more, like I was, I should have gone on the agenda and looked for more networking events,
Okay.
and gone to and made sure that I showed up at those things first, and
Okay.
asked a lot of questions, or asked the people that were running the show, be like, hey, can you set me up with whatever committee is running this event, so that way I can get to know them. And
That's a really interesting strategy. Ask the show for the introduction.
yeah.
I've never actually done that before. That's a really interesting strategy.
So now I've done it twice because I go to most of the shows by myself. So I just
Okay.
asked them. I was like, "Hey, do you think you can direct me to someone on LinkedIn that makes sense to befriend me? Kind of Sherpa me around
Yeah,
for a
sure.
little bit until I get my feet wet, and then I'm fine.
Okay.
I don't need any more hand holding. I'm good."
That's actually really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So we were having this conversation earlier. I actually think that there's a ton of opportunity in the automotive space. There's the breadth of the automotive industry, and the depth of the automotive industry is just vast. Would you recommend to a young professional female that she think about the automotive space or the industry?
I don't think there's enough women looking at the automotive industry.
Okay.
Like, I was primed to be the next general manager. Like, one of my friends said that like a long time ago. He's like, "If I know that you're happy where you are," he goes, "but you could run all the stores." Like, he goes, "because you love it that much."
Yeah.
I don't think there's enough females that have a voice in it, and I think that girls need to look at it, like young
Okay.
women. My daughter just so happens to go to a school that has academies, and they have almost every single academy, like for logistics, supply chain, medicine,
Sure.
biotech,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff that we need in the future. We need a lot more doctors, we need more nurses, but there's no one that's going to perpetuate this unless you're in the family.
Yeah.
Like, so I grew up with it. My dad has had hobby shops since I'm 4.
Okay.
I'm obsessed with cars. I
Oh,
didn't realize
okay.
that SEMA was happening before this, but my daughter got hurt anyway, so I wouldn't have come. But
Yeah.
but if I had like 5 of me to clone, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, I would have so much fun. It'd be like that. I don't know if you're familiar. There's this lawyer that she got fired for wearing pink. So now her entire law firm wears pink.
No, I've never heard of that. Oh,
Yeah, so it's
interesting.
like it's like the Legally Blonde of law firms. So I
Oh
was like,
my
I would do
gosh.
something like that. Everybody wears blue or pink or whatever
Yeah.
have you, and have like used car managers that show up and
Sure.
at 4:30 in the morning and appraise cars, and have it be a really awesome chick.
Yeah, I did go to Digital Dealer a couple weeks ago, and one of the sessions I sat in on was, the tips and tricks for some of the most high-performing salespeople. Folks that had sold 50 and 60 cars. One person had sold, I think, 200 cars in a month, right? And how they go about, and they all have their brand and their thing. And they do a lot through social media, but they, you walk into one of their stores, and you know that this is the person. They all dress in a certain way. It was
Yeah.
actually really, really interesting. So I could see, I could see you building a whole business with that as the model. So
Yeah, it was cool because I've never done that. So I was doing the same thing. I was selling
Yeah.
a couple hundred cars a month, but then I never posted on social media. It
Wow.
was literally word of mouth. Like, this girl is different. Like, she will show up at your place of business at 4:30 and appraise all the cars.
oh my gosh.
I was like, "Hey, I'm in my gym clothes, but I'm working out anyway. So do you want coffee? And I'll come appraise all your vehicles, write them all
Okay.
down, and do what I need to do."
Okay.
And it would be so cool if my daughter would fall into it.
Yeah.
Because 1, there's great money to be had, and then 2, it's so empowering to
Yeah.
like change someone's mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I have 2 daughters, right? And so I ask this question somewhat selfishly, right? I think about my girls and what I want them to get into the automotive space. I wouldn't want them to have to deal with some of the things that you talked about, you dealt with earlier. But I do think there's a huge opportunity for, somebody who's aggressive, somebody who's pleasant, somebody who offers great service to be successful in a variety, whether it's the ops side or the sales side or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And so I do think it's it could be an industry that I would encourage my girls to explore, if nothing else.
yeah, like, they don't have to be controllers,
Yeah,
because that's what usually girls go into. They go into controller, like, upstairs,
Yeah.
right? They go into the books. I was like, no, go up front. Like, be that dealer. Get the Dealer Excellence Award. Get the Principals Award. Like, do all that stuff. It's so neat.
yeah,
I love the business. I really do. I've been infatuated with it since I got in it. So
yeah. What do you love about it? What is your favorite thing about the automotive space?
it's always changing.
Yeah,
It's forever changing, and everybody can say that about anything. But there's so, like, between legislation and the way we're building cars, like, it is forever changing.
yeah,
Like, our rubber is changing. Like, the way they farm out rubber for tires is different.
Yeah.
Just because of COVID, silicone.
That's
Like,
really
it
interesting.
gets
I
like
didn't know
really
that.
deep. Yeah. I am a nerd when it comes to automotive.
No, but that's really interesting. Well, you know what? One of the things I've heard about, the EVs, right, is around tires. That if you put the same tire on an EV isn't going to last nearly as long, right? So that's a whole supply chain challenge that companies, the more EVs that are going to be out there, they're going to have to think about, like, well, what is our tire duration like? Or even if you're just selling them and you have it on what's the mileage on this tire going to last? And it's like, what kind of car is it?
Yeah, the torque on it, like how many revolutions the wheels spinning. Sticky tires.
There you go. What would you take from your college world, right? We talked a little bit about, you talked about head down, right? Work hard. How has that, as a collegiate athlete, helped you as a professional?
The blinders on, especially with my path, right? So it's a solo sport. I didn't do a relay or anything like that. So maybe it lended to like my quote unquote rise in the car business because I knew how to channel my pain.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
So when it hurts, you keep going.
Yeah.
And as a salesperson, you know this on a slow month, especially November, December, when you only got 12 cars out and you've got Christmas running around the corner. You're like, okay, what am I going to do? How do I channel this pain? And how do I keep moving forward? I think that's the biggest thing that I've been able to use to win the car business, right?
Okay.
Like it doesn't matter. Like it does not matter how much pain you're in that day. Move on.
Just
Move forward. Keep pushing forward.
Keep pushing forward. That's amazing.
Yeah, all that lactic acid in your legs, it's okay.
It's all right. The burn's good. No
the
pain.
burn is good.
The burn is good.
Yeah.
So you said you run now. What is your distance? What do you like to run now?
I fractured my tibia a little bit ago, so I'm doing like 5Ks, 7 miles. I'm pretty lame right now.
That's a lot.
I ran this morning.
There you go.
But yeah.
You ran this morning? You don't have a fractured tibia right now.
No,
I know.
No.
But wow, that's a lot. Most people don't run that. It's more than more than most people will get out and do. So good for you. So that's awesome. All right.
Did you run too?
Right? I do run. I do trail runs. I ran around here the other day. It was really pretty.
Yeah, I heard you can run on the golf course here.
I ran around the outside, but normally I like to go run trails. My thing is running trails. I want to go run in the woods.
Yeah.
I have a DPM metric.
Okay.
It's called deer per mile. How many deer do I see across my run?
Nice.
If I see more than 1 or 2 deer in the morning, it's a good day.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It's Chattahoochee National Forest. A lot of people who live in Atlanta. Where do you live?
I live in Jacksonville, Florida.
You live in Jacksonville, but you used to live in Atlanta, right?
For a period of time.
Yeah,
like
for a period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Beaufort. I think a lot of people in Atlanta don't realize that, like, the Chattahoochee National Forest, it's actually a national forest. It's a national park. It's in downtown Atlanta. You can pretty much hang out in a national park right in Atlanta. Most people don't even realize that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. So, what do you think about the Jacksonville market? We'll just talk about that just for a moment.
When it comes to transport?
Yeah. I mean, because you've got big rivers that are there. You've got
yeah, we're the River City, right?
Yeah. So what is Jacksonville? What role does that play in the transport world?
Honestly, I mean, we have one of our what is that called? Sorry, you're at the terminals.
Terminals.
Yes,
there you go.
There's that. I was like, we have one of our terminals there because the port is there.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be easier. I might as well be born and raised there. I mean, I've been there 11 years. I know, I went to high school there.
Yeah.
I'm a Jacksonville kid. I thought it was going to be the easiest market for me to take over. Oh my gosh.
Really?
It is not.
Difficult?
It is difficult, but we have like this great transport guy that runs, from between Georgia and Jacksonville that he pretty much has gotten that buttoned up. But when it comes to how many cars are going through that port, and because Savannah was down for a while because of that ship.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to be able to go to the port a lot because I work with Lennius Hansen.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Because of Nissan.
Yep.
Yes, and a lot of stevedores. Honestly, I'm a little bit far removed from that, but because our terminal is run by operations.
Gotcha.
So I don't really play with it, but I think they're going to utilize our port a little bit more than our port in Miami, just because of the amount of people that are moving to Florida. I mean, we had 250,000 people move to Jacksonville in 4 months during COVID.
Oh my gosh, that's nuts.
Yeah,
that's
we
a
don't
lot
have
of
enough
people.
houses. We don't have enough houses.
If you need plumbing, you can call David Gray Plumbing in
Yes,
Jacksonville.
David Gray. That's what we found out.
Gary's our boy.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, Gigi, it was really nice sitting down with you. Thank you so much for the time. I think, and congrats on your success. I mean, holy smokes, you seem to, every time I talk to you, you seem to get something different going on. So
yeah.
So what's next? Are you just going to keep growing? Hansen Adkins, you're just going to keep building this thing up, right? That's
yes.
the plan?
So actually, because this job proved to be a little bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be, right?
Okay.
I was like, I can do this. I ran fleet. Like that was ridiculously hard. Oh my gosh, because we're so new to the space, right?
Yeah.
So I told David, my boss today, I was like, hey, I hired a mentor and she told me to do this. So growing my brand and attracting people to me.
So how can people find you?
LinkedIn?
Yeah, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
The best way to get in touch with me is LinkedIn. Text me. My phone number is there too. Email me, like message me, whatever and whatnot.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm all over LinkedIn almost every day trying to post something.
Okay.
That, mostly personal, honestly. I'm not trying, like I don't post work stuff. I post like things that I see. I'm like, oh, this is a good Monday quote. I was like, I needed that for myself. I'm sure other people need it. So
there you go. Okay.
I don't know if I'm motivational or not, but sometimes I need to kick my own behind, and that's how I do it.
Good for you. That's awesome. All right. Well, look Gigi up. Gigi the Fixer Ferris.
Yes.
We came up with that earlier. So look Gigi up on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Gigi, it's so nice to sit down with you again. I hope you have a great rest of the show.
You too.
Safe travels back home.
You too.
Awesome. Good to see you.
Good to see you.